Hello and welcome to the Commerce Journey podcast. My name is Brian Krogsgaard, and along with my partner Cory Miller, we bring you Commerce Journey. Hey, Cory.
Hey, Brian.
So this is our first real podcast. So far, we've just put out the little blurb to say hello, but this is the real deal.
It's pretty cool. We've been talking about this vision and dream for a while now, seeing it reality, and it pairs so much with what we're trying to help other people do, bring their dreams to reality.
Yeah, that's right. So the Commerce Journey is a website meant for e-commerce store owners. We want to help you learn and grow and go farther with your e-commerce store. A lot of that verbiage I've stolen from some of Cory's mantras over the years with your own business experience.
Yeah, so and I love it too. It's a resonating, themes in my life for sure, and I'm so glad because that's what we do as a partnership. But it comes from the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's what we do in all of our projects, you and I, Brian. And this one in particular is you don't have to go it alone doing an e-commerce store. A lot of people do. And I think they probably fail quite a bit. But you know my background. I didn't go alone. I had a team, a band of merry people, developers, designers, marketers, support people, all that made the magic happen.
Yeah, in terms of people going alone too, we know a lot of store owners out there. You're doing this on your own. But one of the things we'll talk about as we go through this project is talk about how you can work with others and rely on others, even when you are a solo founder or you're managing every component of your e-commerce store. And there's still ways to lean on others and to go through this journey together. Hey, so for Commerce Journey, we want to also give a shout out to GoDaddy Pro. GoDaddy have been fantastic launch partners with us, and we are partnering with them for everything that we do. So if you're just getting started with your e-commerce store, if you're already along the way, whether you need to pick a domain or choose hosting and get started with your store, check out GoDaddy Pro. They are an excellent place to start your e-commerce store, and you can do that at a special URL. Just go to commercejourney.com/go, and it'll take you right where you need to go to get started with some outstanding deals that they've set up for our listeners and community members. And we're so thankful for them being partners with us throughout this project and exclusive partners at that. So thank you so much to GoDaddy Pro for being partners, and the way that you can show your thanks to them for that and bringing you all this free content because it's supported by their contributions is to go to commercejourney.com/go and check out everything that GoDaddy Pro can do for you. All right, Cory, you had something to add there?
Well, hey, I was going to say I love to having GoDaddy Pro as a partner here to make all this magic work. And I wanted to say one of our community members, we've already got some early members, has already purchased that particular awesome plan, which is 3 months free to
I think it's for
get a bunch
$1,
of great tools.
but it's
Oh,
practically
$1. That's right.
It's practically free.
Yeah, thanks. Practically free, $1, and then it's like $29, $30 a month after that. What a great way to kind of get your store going. And so she's in New Mexico. She does some really cool stuff, and I'm excited to walk with her on her journey of selling. She's got emotional well-being boxes, and so what a great platform. I just want to mention that about GoDaddy.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up the type of people that, or the type of place where we want people to be, because when we talk about what a journey is, the commerce journey, we know that people are at all different parts of that. Some folks haven't started yet, and they don't even know, like, what do they want to sell. Some people know exactly what they want to sell, but they haven't actually launched their store. Some people may be in business successfully in a retail atmosphere, a physical atmosphere, but they are realizing, well, it's time to get online, or it's past time to get online. Maybe people are online, but they're not far enough down the road, or maybe people are not full-time yet, but they know the potential in their store. We know that we're walking alongside people that are along all parts of that path. And Cory, can you share a little bit about how we hope to really be able to put content out that's going to be specific enough for anyone, or specific enough for each of those, kind of segments of where they may be, but broad enough to where we think this content can really support that entire audience?
For so many years, both of us, I know we've compared stories, but get hit up because of our backgrounds and what we've done for building websites and particularly with e-commerce websites. And, there's so much, there's fear, there's anxiety a part of it. And then most people are just lost,
Mm.
don't know what the next step is. And as an umbrella statement for Commerce Journey, that's what we do is to help people answer those key questions, take the most pertinent, impactful steps to selling their products and or services online. And that's exciting to me because it is helping people flesh out that dream of maybe they are in a current job, full-time gig and ready to do something different. This whole season of time, Brian, has just really highlighted that. And that as a theme too, that dynamic of COVID and our pandemic we're under, it hits all of the segments
Yeah.
too. So like, there's somebody that we just talked about, or I just mentioned that is in a full-time job, wanting to transition, be an entrepreneur, have control and flexibility over their own life and destiny. But there's another segment that you talked about too, which is, I mean, here in Oklahoma City, where I'm based, there's a ton of restaurants that have scrambled. We
Hmm.
all know those stories,
Oh yeah.
how they transition to do curbside and to go orders, things like that. I mentioned to you quite a bit about the garden center here. During the whole lockdown for our state, they had, you could go online and you could text essentially your order into them and then pick it up. And there are millions of businesses like that right now that need to bridge that gap. So that's another segment. And then I think the third one we've talked about quite a bit is maybe somebody's selling something. Maybe they're making like $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, which by the way is awesome. I want to high five everybody that's making money online, no matter what amount it is,
Hmm.
and are ready to take their store to the next level. And with our backgrounds running big businesses, great businesses online, um, we can help them with some of the things that, well, honestly, it's the mistakes and failures that we've had to
Yeah,
help them
absolutely.
maybe, not have to replicate those mistakes and failures. And so I think about those three groups, Brian, as like the people we speak to intimately that we're trying to help them in their journey of selling their goods, services online.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about our backgrounds in terms of how that'll assist the content that we create and also who we're going to bring on because we haven't done everything. Like you can't have somebody that comes in and just has experience in every aspect of running a business and an e-commerce business at that and share that knowledge with other people. So we're going to bring a lot of other people with real world experience and expertise to go alongside us to help you do better with your online store. But I do want to talk about where Cory and I come from. Both of us come from the web space. Both of us run currently and have run e-commerce stores. I will say one of the things where our previous experience has been centered around is digital stores and digital e-commerce for what we sell. However, in my case, a lot of the consulting I've done has been towards people that are doing physical goods e-commerce. I was a consultant working at a web shop going back to 2011, and they had a significant client base that was doing physical goods e-commerce, a lot of brick and click stuff. So we were helping local businesses get online or stay online, and they actually had some really innovative e-commerce stuff that they had done, and I was helping them update their software to use modern open source e-commerce platforms rather than old proprietary stuff that they'd been using for like 20 years, which had its day. But my job was to help them say, hey, here's some great e-commerce tools that you can use and bring this stuff up to date. And that's what I did for several years, working with a ton of e-commerce stores that were mostly in that kind of brick and click territory. So their online business wasn't their primary business, but it was a big part of their business and certainly a growing part. So that's where my physical goods e-commerce stuff came from. The digital side, you certainly have experience with going back to 2008, and then I do from 2015 or so. But why don't you tell where do you come from a e-commerce perspective?
Yeah, so the bulk of mine, 99.5 5% has been all online subscription based. Particularly, I started a company in 2008, one of the first commercial product companies in WordPress,
Mm-hmm.
which we talk a lot about in Commerce Journey because we love our WordPress as a platform to help people put their thoughts and ideas online, but also run awesome e-commerce stores. So that was called iThemes, and I ran that, started that, grew that until 2018. Multi-million-dollar business, just had some great software products we put out into the world, and then sold it in 2018. And then 2019 left the company and to start the next journey, which included partnering with you.
Yeah, so I ran Post Status by myself for many years, started in 2013, and then turned it into my full-time job at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015 was when I started subscriptions. So Post Status is essentially like a trade magazine for web professionals is kind of the way I would describe it. And specifically WordPress web professionals, so kind of the industry insiders, the people that make plugins, the people that run consulting agencies. They are my customers and our customers now, because after doing that by myself for almost 5 years, I sold half the business to you and brought you in, and together I really felt that we were empowered, bringing our experiences together and had a lot of the same ideas. So now we both own 50% of Post Status, and Commerce Journey is our extension of that project to be able to address a different audience. So that was Post Status is very professional WordPress type of people, and with Commerce Journey, we're really addressing store owners. Now, a lot of our customers in the Post Status landscape and in the WordPress landscape, they run e-commerce stores almost exclusively. Things like digital downloads or subscriptions and memberships and stuff like that. That's where our customer base has. So we've both covered e-commerce for a long time, followed e-commerce for a long time. And we're bringing that cumulative experience of web marketing and in sales and all kinds of different things that translate pretty well over to the Commerce Journey side of things. And what we're pulling with that is the physical goods experience. Can you talk a little bit about where you are right now with the physical goods space?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention when you're kind of detailing our resume for a second, remember, I even tried to build an e-commerce solution.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. We as part of iThemes, we had an e-commerce solution for about 3-4 years. Eventually, it was acquired by another company. Now it's defunct, but deep dive into that. So building the actual software. And I think about all your experience in e-commerce software, and it's very, very deep. So I think we come at things with different perspectives and angles, but it's additive. It's all like 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, for our
But
listeners, just on that front, you reminded me. It makes me feel old a little bit, but our listeners are probably familiar with some of the e-commerce platforms out there. There's WooCommerce and Shopify. They're really the two dominant ones, but there's Magento and BigCommerce and Easy Digital Downloads and Memberful, and depending on what angle you're looking at things, there's lots of different platforms. Certainly something we'll dig into a lot. Personally, though, I've been super involved in the WooCommerce space ever since it started. Literally from the day it existed, I've been working on WooCommerce because WooCommerce came as a fork of another project back in the day that I was building a website on, and I converted it to WooCommerce because the people that developed WooCommerce came over from that prior project, and I've been involved with it ever since. So I've had my very first store was helping a friend do both wholesale and retail physical goods with lots of options like monogramming and all those things way back in late 2010, I think, is when I started on that. So that was my introduction to WooCommerce. So I've kind of grown up with WooCommerce from a platform perspective, but that won't limit us in terms of what we cover. We will cover hosted platforms, self-hosted platforms, everything in between, and we'll talk a ton about that. All right, so now that gets to your physical side, right?
Yeah. So like I said, for a decade plus, I ran, digital products essentially and sold them on the web. And you mentioned the word legacy e-commerce earlier, and I was like, I cringed a little bit because we experienced that too. But in this next chapter of my professional career, and particularly as an entrepreneur, so I've always loved the digital space and memberships and subscription and recurring revenue. And that's what I had with iThemes, what we have with Post Status um, as well. And some of the projects that I have are also digital and membership stuff. But you particularly were trying to get out of me that. So earlier this year, this is July 2020. Friendly friend asked me for some business advice last year, but then it quickly turned into, hey, let's partner together on this. She had has a huge audience on Instagram of basically curly hair people,
Mm-hmm.
and had built this up. And she goes, I want to make organic shampoo bars and conditioners for curly hair people like me. And she's got obviously curly hair. Well, I happen to have a 5-year-old redhead with curly hair. And I was like, that sounds really cool. Let's do it. But I've never done a physical journey. And we've been talking about this for a long time, you and I. And so it's the first time where I had something that has to be, one, manufactured, and then two, put into some physical box and shipped.
Yeah.
And that's called thevitabars.com. And it's been a great little thing. Of course, with Anna, my partner there, she is awesome. She runs it. I'm behind the scenes, and it's really taken off. We've sold out in first time we had 300 sets, I want to say, and we sold out in 72 hours. Second set had about 150 and sold out in, like, I think by the end of the day. And now we're on our working on the fourth batch to sell. So that's been fun. But it gives me this unique new perspective I've had. Like everything I've talked about in previous years was all like, you couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold it in your hand. You definitely didn't have to feed it overnight, or you didn't have to manufacture and pull ingredients together and all that. So it's a new perspective I've gotten in the physical goods world.
It's a huge difference. Even there's a lot of overlap between the different types of e-commerce, but there is a huge difference when it's a physical good that you put in a box and you send it off to an individual, and then they hold it in their hands in some capacity or used it. But we're really excited that we're able to pull together these different experiences and then provide this voice, and hopefully that'll be really useful for our entire audience, no matter what you're doing. And in addition to our own experiences, like we said, we've established some of our own limitations of experience, and we will be bringing on a lot of people who do outstanding work and run outstanding stores. And we'll be putting together something that is really a nice blend between our experience and others, but also practical stuff and what I would call more aspirational. So the aspirational side of things is really to say, okay, maybe you're in the 6-figure territory and you want to learn about the people that have 7 and 8-figure e-commerce businesses, and the people that aren't just working on their own or working part-time, but they have a team of people that are consistently fulfilling orders and doing warehousing, and they're dealing with, cross-state tax issues, all these things that are like, you'll have to deal with them if you continue to grow. Everybody, we want you to continue to grow. So we're going to try to bring you some of the stories of people that we think are further down the road in that journey, and show you like what are not only the things that are going to help you today, but the things that are going to help you tomorrow. So we'll bring on a lot of guests that have existing experience in that 7 and 8-figure territory for sales.
Yeah, and paired that's the dream most of us have, is being able to, one, go full time, and two, build something of substance that employs people, that does really good work in the world. I got to live that dream with iThemes. We had about 25 people by the time I left, and it was awesome. I spread all throughout, I don't know, 4 or 5 countries, several continents. That was awesome. And then there's this practical side, which is you just need to figure out how to buy a domain name or set up, your design of your site. And so we're doing this journey of, that's the dream to get there, but you have all these things that go, in between to get there. And Brian and I want to be, you and I want to be together with these to see these dreams come true. One of the highlights of my career as an entrepreneur was when someone would come up to me at a conference, or we get an email and it would start with, your products changed my life.
Yeah.
And I see that for our community at Commerce Journey, our tribe, is they're not just trying to change their lives, they're trying to change their world's lives and have those stories of cool stuff. Like we put out this solution for the world. Like I think about Vita bars and I go, most of the people we hear from happen to be ladies, but they go, we haven't found something just, specific for curly hair. Well, okay, that feeding the hungry in the world? No. But is it helping someone, you know, helping someone achieve, like you were saying, some of their aspirations too for their customers? Heck yeah. And that's exciting. That's why I love being an entrepreneur and particularly selling online.
Yeah. So we want to help you create great products and make happy customers who love your products. And there's so much that we'll be able to talk about because e-commerce is really, it's one of those where you have to be good at so many different things that there's endless stuff to talk about because there's the customer experience, there's the product experience and the product quality and the support experience and the marketing campaigns and the email and the website and the business elements and the logistical, the shipping. There's endless content. We have no concerns about the amount of stuff that we'll be able to cover. And we're so excited to have all of you along with us to help us with this. And what we really want to do is make sure that this is not just us spouting out, but really pulling in what you have to share because we believe that everybody has something that they can bring in and share and be part of this journey with us. So we hope that you will participate. And that could be as simple as engaging with us on social media or replying to our emails and that kind of stuff. With that, let's go into some of the ways where people can really connect. How are we going to talk to people, Cory?
Yeah, so primary vehicle is the website. So we're going to be producing content. And specifically, when I say the website, I really mean the email newsletter that we're putting out every week. It's going to be loaded with tips, aspirational things, stuff going on to help you with this journey step by step. Commerce Journeys with you. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to the email.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're coming. So then you get reminded of new content we're putting out on the website and other venues. We're doing webinars. We've already got several webinars scheduled with more to come around these. But like you said, too, is we need people to tell us, reply to those emails, hit the contact form, get in our Facebook group and ask questions because we want to be so practical and helpful for you. And those things help us with the content. Brian and I have a lot of experience, but we might just assume, this. Well, hey, we're all learners here. We're all trying to learn and grow and do something cool in the world. So we want you to post that. And then you can also follow us, of course, on Twitter. But our website has all those little icons that you can go and subscribe to and be sure you're following or in part of the group. And most definitely subscribe to the email newsletter.
Yeah, so everything we're going to distribute from commercejourney.com. So if we put out new content, you'll be able to see it there. However, the best way to stay in touch and know what's coming, especially for some of those live events like the webinars that we're putting on, is definitely going to be through the email. And then, depending on how you like to consume or engage, interact, we'll be listening to hear what your feedback is, what your questions are, whether you're replying to our email or whether you're engaging with us on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube. We're going to be in all those places because we want to go where you are. And then eventually we may come to a place where we realize like people do want to come and they want to have a community on Commerce Journey itself. But right now we want to put out as much stuff in all the places where you are so that we can engage with you, learn your stories, and start to develop this community. Now, what's required for that is for people to know that Commerce Journey exists. We can talk to our own audiences and try to pull people in, but the best way to do this is to get one store owner to tell another store owner, hey, you need to go check out Commerce Journey because this is going to help you do more with your store, make more money, have better profit margins. Those are our goals with this, is we want to help people succeed in their careers with their online stores. So please, if you have interest in this, then tell someone else that has a store to check out commercejourney.com as well. Cory, what closing thoughts do you have?
Well, all the things we talked about, the overwhelming bulk of that is going to be free. Yeah. Thanks to GoDaddy Pro. And that's incredible. So, Brian, I think about your expertise and various stages before we were partners, I would have gladly paid for your high-level consulting. for your technical experience, for all the experiences and expertise that you have around these subjects. And I would call you probably once or twice a year just to ask you feedback and stuff. And now I get you for free.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest is get subscribed, and then you're going to get all of this content courtesy of our good friends at GoDaddy Pro.
Yeah, and we appreciate the a vote of confidence is really what that is from GoDaddy Pro to Commerce Journey, because they know Cory and I, based on a decade-long relationship with the folks at GoDaddy, and they're making a bet on us, and we want you to make that bet on us as well. We're going to put out as much awesome content as we can, and we do want to make it completely free. And it's supported by GoDaddy. Go to commercejourney.com/go to check out the deals that GoDaddy has for you. And the reason we want to make it free is because we want to get the word out there and build this community and gather store owners, because we do think there's power in numbers when you bring store owners together that will be able to succeed and learn together and create a really awesome e-commerce community. Cory, we will leave it there. As a sign-off, go to commercejourney.com, subscribe to the email. Hopefully we've convinced you. With all our projects, Cory and I have focused on delivering outstanding stuff through that email, and that's the place to go more than any other. But also subscribe to this podcast on YouTube and on iTunes, on Spotify, and all those places. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Look for Commerce Journey wherever you go. With that, we'll catch you next time.